$30 each. Click, call, or visit a Spectrum store today.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
I'm Sharon Tazwell. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. Markets plunging for a second day, marking the biggest back-to-back loss since 2020. The Dow dropped more than 2,200 points. China striking back, announcing it will impose reciprocal 34% tariffs on all imports from the U.S. The Federal Reserve issued a warning President Trump's tariffs could lead to higher inflation.
While uncertainty remains elevated, it is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
Heavy rain and flash flooding battered parts of the Midwest and South Friday. Kentucky's governor says a child was killed. The storms come as many communities are still reeling from severe tornadoes that destroyed neighborhoods and killed at least 7 people.
The tornado came through and just plowed about everything in its path.
Hoping it missed our house, but as soon as we drove up, we realized we have nothing left.
President Trump says he's signing an executive order to keep TikTok in the U.S. for 75 more days. The extension will give his administration more time to broker a deal to bring the social media platform under U.S. ownership. The Chinese-owned app previously faced a ban deadline of April 5th. And that is your Spectrum News in 90.
It has been a busy week tracking wind, hail, tornadoes, and flooding, and that's going to continue into the weekend. We still have a stalled front for the Ohio and Mississippi River valleys to bring that severe threat into the weekend. Also, that flooding risk is high, life-threatening flooding through the weekend. But some good news, a pattern change is on the way. We'll talk all about it coming up with your Weather on the Ones.
A stock market meltdown Friday as another massive sell-off leads to the biggest two-day wipeout in history, according to MarketWatch. The Financial Tracker reports U.S. markets have now lost over $9 trillion since President Trump's inauguration day. But the Trump administration isn't backing down on its policies. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Tazwell. Fears continue to grow over a potential recession amid what many see as an escalating trade war. All 3 major indexes once again ending in red. The Dow lost over 2,000 points for just the 4th time in history, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq fell nearly 1,000 points, and the S&P fell nearly 6%. But despite a crashing stock market, the president is doubling down, using a better-than-expected jobs report to ensure Americans he believes the future is bright. Spectrum's Charlotte Scott has the latest from Washington.
The closing bell on Wall Street could not come soon enough Friday. Stocks plunging for a second day, a reaction to President Donald Trump's sweeping new tariffs, and China's decision Friday to retaliate with a 34% tariff on imports of U.S. goods. All of it stoking fears of a global trade war and recession.
We face a highly uncertain outlook with elevated risks of both higher unemployment and higher inflation.
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell adding to the gloom, saying the president's tariffs may cause prices to rise and the economy to slow more than expected. He said it's prudent for the Fed to take a wait-and-see approach on interest rates.
We also are likely to have job losses associated with these tariffs, and if they were to raise interest rates, they would exacerbate those impacts. So I expect what we'll see is the Fed's really just going to try to hold steady here as long as they can.
The burst of bad news overshadowed a Labor Department report showing the economy added a better than expected 228,000 jobs in March. The president went golfing in Florida but seized on the jobs report as evidence his policies are working. In a series of social media posts, he urged the Fed to cut interest rates and hit China for its retaliatory taxes, saying, quote, China played it wrong. The new labor secretary touted the new employment numbers and brushed off announcements of layoffs by some companies in response to the tariffs.
I think what's happening is that people are reassessing and realigning, but this is positive. And when we see the federal workforce now starting to decrease and align in the private sector, that's what we want to see.
Economics professor Thomas Kemp says volatility on Wall Street will continue, in part because the tariffs announced by the president Wednesday have not yet been assessed.
The market's all over the place because the expectations are all over the place. When we have sort of a collective agreement about exactly how this is going to be impacted, then the markets will stabilize.
Most of President Trump's tariffs are set to go into effect next Wednesday, and we can expect China's to hit the next day. In Washington, Charlotte Scott, Spectrum News.
As the stock market continues to take a hit, many Americans are wondering how to manage accounts such as savings and retirement funds. Joining us now to discuss what you should know about your money is financial advisor Ted Jenkins from Exit Wealth. Ted, what is happening with our savings and 401ks right now?
Well, good to see you, Sharon. And basically, I would define it as cloudy with the chance of more tariffs. I mean, let's remember that uncertainty is the opposite of confidence, and the markets are really feeling the certainty of uncertainty right now. So we're seeing this ripple effect of retaliatory tariffs from China today that hit the market even further. We'll see how it responds over the long term, but I would expect a bumpy road, Sharon, for 401ks over the short term.
So, Ted, should people make any changes, take money out of their 401ks or invest? Help us break down the best options for the average American.
Well, look, if you have 10 or more years for your retirement, there is no reason to hit the panic button. The stock market is a long-term investment, and you should not touch your 401k. However, if you're closer to retirement or you're retired, you may want to reassess your investment strategy as you take income out of your 401ks. What I would recommend to a lot of people at home is consider increasing the amount you put in your 401ks right now, because stocks are cheap and you'll be buying more at a discount. And that's, Sharon, kind of when you want to buy groceries when they're on sale. It's what you'd be doing with your 401k.
So are we expecting the market to rebound anytime soon, Ted?
I don't expect it anytime soon, meaning over the next couple of weeks. I think until all the tariffs shake out between all of the countries around the world, and there's a little bit of this global settlement, if you will, I think the stock market's going to be bumpy day to day till we see how it all settles out.
All right, something we'll definitely keep an eye on. Ted Jenkins from Exit Wealth Advisors, thanks so much for your time and, of course, your expertise.
Yeah. Thanks, Sharon.
Questions remain over what items will be impacted here in the U.S. by the new tariffs. Many economists say the impact will be wide-ranging. At the grocery store, expect higher prices on fruit, seafood, alcohol, and coffee beans. Technology also expected to take a hit. Prices on items such as computers, tablets, smartphones, and televisions also expected to rise. And the tariffs may even impact your closets, with higher prices expected on shirts, pants, dresses, and footwear. Recovery efforts are underway across the central U.S. following widespread devastation from severe storms this week. And it's not over yet. Life-threatening flooding is expected in the South and Ohio Valley, as well as severe weather that could spawn tornadoes into the weekend. Our meteorologist Alan August has been following this severe weather all week, and he joins us now. Alan, what are we keeping an eye on this weekend, and when can we expect to see an end to these storms?
Well, we'll talk about this weekend first, Sharon, because first things first, we're looking at severe weather this evening into tonight that continues for the Arklatex region all the way up into the Ohio River Valley. In fact, a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather for much of Arkansas into southern Missouri, and that's where we have tornado watches up until 10 o'clock Central Time for northeastern Arkansas all the way down into eastern Texas, and included in that western portion of Tennessee, Kentucky, with tornado watches and a severe thunderstorm watch into central and southern Kentucky, all thanks to this front that hasn't moved anywhere. That threat for severe weather continues into tonight, even tomorrow. Severe thunderstorms for the middle and lower Mississippi River Valley, and more flooding rains for the Ohio Valley that will continue into Sunday. So take a look at the additional rainfall totals here. Some spots could exceed 4, 5, a half foot of rain into portions of Arkansas. So again, that's why we're looking at the potential for life-threatening flooding through the weekend. And that flooding threat, Sharon, will continue into next week as well.
Oh my. All right, meteorologist Alan Auglis, thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, another break for popular social media app TikTok. President Trump signing another order preventing a ban from taking place this weekend. But the app's future remains uncertain. We're on Capitol Hill with the latest. Just ahead.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Bring it to the party, bring it to the top, bring it to the party. Never gonna stop.
Enjoy, unwind, connect with Spectrum TV on Demand. From the latest hit movies you've been waiting to watch to your favorite comfort shows and more, all available instantly for you to stream. Create the all-around entertainment experience you've always wanted with Spectrum TV on Demand. Browse over 80,000 on-demand titles today.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Meteorologist Alan Auglis. It's now time for your weather on the ones. And over the last 24 hours, look at the rainfall totals from the Ohio River Valley, south and west into Arkansas. Several inches of rain. The bullseye, the brunt of it, into Kentucky with 3 to locally a half foot of rain in just 1 day's time. And you can see what's happening in Kentucky. This is in Shepherdsville along the Salt River. And notice that water really rising up out of its banks already due to all this rain, and unfortunately much more is to come into the weekend. With this stationary boundary over top of the Ohio Valley, westbound into the Mississippi River Valley, and on the southern side of it this evening into tonight, we have the threat of severe weather in northeastern Texas, Arkansas, into southeastern Missouri, the threat of tornadoes. So you can see that here. This is 10 o'clock this evening Eastern time, southeastern Missouri into Arkansas. Those strong thunderstorms, large hail, damaging winds, and a few strong tornadoes expected. Then tonight it moves into Kentucky once again into Saturday. More heavy rain for the Mississippi River Valley, and eventually this front's going to be moving, but slowly through the weekend. It's not until later Sunday into Monday it moves to the east. But nonetheless, there's more severe weather, unfortunately, for Saturday from the Ohio River Valley southbound towards the Gulf Coast. In fact, a level 3 out of 5 for Memphis, Tennessee, Tennessee, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Alexandria, Shreveport, Louisiana. The threat for a few tornadoes there as well. And on Saturday, that risk zone continues for flash flooding from Louisville, Kentucky, Paducah under a high risk zone for flash flooding into much of Arkansas and western Tennessee. There is good news on the way, though. A pattern change is ahead for next week. We'll talk about that coming up with your next Weather on the Ones.
If you're just joining us, here's what you need to know. The Federal Reserve Chair warning inflation is likely to go up due to President Trump's new tariffs, and the higher prices could be here to stay. The stock market plunged for its second day Friday, with the Dow falling more than 2,000 points. Markets are now facing the worst crisis since the COVID crash after China matched President Trump's tariffs in an escalating global trade war. And the IRS says fewer Americans have filed their taxes and more have requested extensions than they had this time last year. The tax filing deadline is April 15th, and that's what you need to know. Popular social media app TikTok not going anywhere in the U.S. just yet. President Trump Friday signing another executive order to delay enforcement of a law effectively banning the app. And as our national reporter Evan Kozloff reports from Capitol Hill, the race to find a U.S. buyer continues.
Guys, is TikTok actually going to get banned?
Well, this is the end of TikTok, y'all.
Here we are again. A feeling of deja vu for TikTok's 170 million U.S. users as they faced a looming deadline on Saturday.
Ooh, guys, we're going to ban it. We're going to take your app away. We're going to do it. Just take it.
But in the end, this ban was narrowly avoided for now. President Donald Trump taking to social media on Friday to announce a new executive order to push off the ban for another 75 days, saying the White House is, quote, working in good faith with China to cut a deal. This is the second time that President Trump delayed a ban since taking office. Congress passed the TikTok bill last spring, mandating that the Chinese company which owns the wildly popular app to sell it or face a ban. Lawmakers say Chinese ownership is a national security risk, since the authoritarian government can force ByteDance to hand over user data. A spokesperson for ByteDance confirmed on Friday that the company has been in discussions with the U.S. government, writing in part, quote, any agreement will be subject to approval under Chinese law.
We're very close to a deal with a very good group of people.
On Thursday, President Trump expressed optimism that he could get China to approve the sale of TikTok by offering relief on the sweeping tariffs he announced just this week. As for possible buyers, there's a long list, including former LA Dodgers owner Frank McCourt, YouTube star Mr. Beast, and Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary. There are also major bids from big companies like Oracle and Amazon. Sharon?
And Evan, we're also following new developments from the Supreme Court Friday. Justices allowing the Trump administration to temporarily freeze millions of dollars worth of funding for teachers training. Evan, what do we know about this case?
Right, so this all centers on grant money being funneled to the states to address teacher shortages, in particular 2 grant programs that focus on recruiting and training teachers who work in underserved communities. Now, the Trump administration looked to pull this funding, claiming that it was being used for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, DEI programs, as he puts it. But 8 blue states that rely on this funding filed suit, leading a lower court judge to block the freeze, a legalistic way of saying making the government dish that money out. So Sharon, we should note that the justices did not rule on the merits. They just ordered that the freeze should continue until the case is resolved.
Interesting. Evan Kozloff in Washington, thanks.
Thank you.
A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to return the Maryland man mistakenly deported to El Salvador back to the U.S. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was deported last month despite a 2019 order from an immigration judge protecting him from being sent back to El Salvador. The Trump administration said Abrego Garcia was a member of the deadly MS-13 gang. During a court hearing on Friday, lawyers argued that he was not in MS-13 and that the White House has no proof. The ruling came shortly after Abrego Garcia's wife rallied with dozens of supporters to urge her husband's safe return.
In the blink of an eye, our 3 children lost their father, and I lost the love of my life.
Abrego Garcia had a permit to legally work in the U.S., the judge describing his deportation as an illegal act. British comedian and actor Russell Brand has been charged with sexual assault against 4 women. Police in London began investigating Brand in 2023 after receiving allegations following a joint investigation by 3 British media outlets. Authorities listed 1 allegation from 1999 and 3 from the early and mid-2000s. The 50-year-old took to social media Friday saying I was, quote, a fool when he was young and single, but that he, quote, never engaged in non-consensual activity. Well, UK police say Brand will appear in court early next month. March Madness nearing its end as the men's Final Four gets ready to tip off Saturday in San Antonio, with the basketball crowds meant to local businesses. That's just ahead, right here on Spectrum News.
For the millions of school-aged children across the country, the state of their schools can have a lasting impact on their health and well-being.
The majority of school districts aren't doing comprehensive regular water quality testing.
As CO2 levels rise in a space, cognitive function takes a direct decline.
We visit 2 school districts working to create safe and healthy environments for their students.
Watch Exploring Your Health, Curing Our Classrooms. Available on the Spectrum News app.
Have you seen my phone?
Yeah, it's with mine.
What's going on here, buddy?
I'm becoming a Kung Fu master.
Huh.
We have to pass this wireless speeds, right?
Yeah, we've got Spectrum.
Well, I used it to absorb hundreds of years of Kung Fu knowledge in like 20 minutes.
I don't think it works that way.
Oh, it does. Hey, what's our nunchuck situation? Don't worry, I'll go find some.
Master anything with the fastest wireless speeds. And internet customers get 1 mobile line included for 2 months with Spectrum.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
The first 4 days of the month, we've had over 1,000 storm reports coming in already with wind, hail, and tornadoes. And unfortunately, the severe weather threat will continue into the weekend with a high risk for flooding as well for the Ohio and Mississippi river valleys. And unfortunately, that flooding threat will continue into next week as well. A lot of rain for the Ohio Valley into the Mississippi River Valley today, and a threat of severe weather in the Arklatex region, into Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, with the threat of tornadoes. In fact, there's a level 4 out of 5 risk for these storms to contain tornadoes, large hail, and wind into Little Rock, also Jonesboro, Arkansas, Texarkana, even western Kentucky, southern Indiana, a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe storms late tonight and early tomorrow morning, as this front is stalled out over the region. So heavy rain and thunderstorms with embedded tornadoes likely for tonight into early tomorrow morning. So that front, it's not moving anywhere anytime soon. It continues to be stalled out over the same areas into Saturday. Now, finally, by Sunday, the front slowly sags south and east. Look what happens, though. Maybe some flakes around Columbus, Ohio by Sunday evening into northwestern Pennsylvania with colder air. But there's a level 2 out of 5 risks for severe storms from Louisville, Kentucky towards New Orleans for tomorrow, but a level 3 in western Tennessee, Memphis, down towards Shreveport, Louisiana. A few tornadoes again possible, and that threat will shift a little bit farther south and east with that front on Sunday for Atlanta, Montgomery, Mobile, dealing with a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms, possibly severe all the way up into D.C. Not out of the question to see a few severe storms there on Sunday. The heat is on for the southeast. For tomorrow, a high of 90 in Raleigh. Look at the cooler air to the north and west, only into the 50s north and west. Sunday still hanging on to that heat far to the south and east. But chilly air for the southern Rockies, Colorado, New Mexico. We're looking at snow for the weekend, even into the panhandle of Texas. A few inches of snow possible. So the warm air is moving on out. A big pattern flipperoo happening by early next week. Chilly air will take over for the northeastern half of the country, finally ending this severe weather.
All eyes will be on San Antonio this weekend as the Final Four teams in men's basketball look to punch their tickets to the NCAA Finals. It all starts Saturday as 2 of the top teams from the best conference will square off. #1 seeds Florida and Auburn will battle it out starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then #1 seeds Duke and Houston will look to make history of their own. And while players are gearing up to take the court, bars and restaurants in the San Antonio area are hoping to score big as well. Spectrum's Jose Arredondo spoke with one owner about what he is expecting.
This Spurs flag proudly waves in front of Gimme Gimme, a bar filled with a pool table, food, Spurs fans, and Theo Rock. A phrase lovingly used to describe old rock music. Bar owner Aaron Peña is ready for his Southtown bar to be flooded with college basketball fans as San Antonio hosts the men's Final Four.
I mean, we're expecting madness in a controlled sense. I mean, there's an influx of like 100,000+ some odd people who are coming down to San Antonio for the Final Four.
It's the first time San Antonio has hosted since 2018, making it the 5th time the Alamo City has been the home for the men's national championship.
Supporting local businesses is huge. It's huge for any economy, and I think San Antonio is in a position right now to really need it.
San Antonio's downtown has changed quite a bit in the last 7 years. Walkability has improved, and tourists will be met with more options. So experts are expecting a lot of spending during Final Four weekend.
Estimated direct spending of about $257 million over that time period, which will yield a total impact to the economy of about $440 million.
St. Mary's University economist Steve Niven says it also wins over tourists to return to San Antonio.
It's all here. And so the fans can come stay downtown. They can walk to the Alamo Dome. They can walk to the restaurants and the bars.
We get to showcase our city each time the Final Four comes in a new and different way.
Helena Wells is the San Antonio local organizing committee director.
And we have an opportunity over the next few years to transform it even further around these major events and how we have that sports and entertainment district that really lends itself to more of that business system.
Hosting the Final Four does come with a price tag of $22 million. Most of the funding comes from a state reimbursement program, and the rest of the money is raised privately through local and cooperative contributions. This coupled with $20 million in city-approved upgrades for the Alamo Dome to accommodate the Final Four.
Like with any building, it needs regular upkeep and maintenance and to just stay up to date with what these events expect and need.
She believes it's an investment with a huge return. For Peña, it means more traffic for his business.
When it's proper time, it's Final Four time.
From San Antonio, Jose Arredondo, Spectrum News.
Meanwhile, the women's Final Four is set to tip off in Tampa tonight. Texas will take on South Carolina starting at 7 Eastern, followed by UConn and UCLA at 9:30. I'm Sharon Tazwell. Thanks for watching. Your Spectrum News and 90s coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
Friday nights, The Big Deal with Errol Lewis, where Spectrum News' local political journalists break down the most important issues shaping our nation.
Our journey towards improving mental health doesn't always always present a clear path. Every Thursday on Your Mental Health, we listen to voices across our communities, discussing the challenges of everyday life and presenting accessible resources to guide us along the path to our well-being, providing hope and empowering choices that light the way to a healthier you.
Your Mental Health with Dr. Nicole Clark, Thursdays on Spectrum News Plus, available on all your favorite devices.
It's game time at the arena, and 20,000 fans are looking for a win. With an ultra-high-speed network and seamless Wi-Fi, fans can get in the door fast and share the game's best moments in real time. And with Spectrum Business committed to keeping them connected 100% of the time, they won't miss a second of the action. A secure, reliable connection from Spectrum Business means the fan experience is a guaranteed win.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News Plus, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm. Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News Plus, exclusively on Spectrum. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app. Spectrum News Plus. Local stories, connecting communities. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.